Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eddie Taylor with the United Way in northern Santa Barbara County. Today, we're joined by Dr. Kevin Walthers from Allan Hancock College. And Jacob is right alongside of us. He'll keep us on time and keep us focused on our subjects. We're going to share some insights today about education, especially higher education, with Kevin. And we thank you for all you do in the community and for lending your vital voice to these podcasts with us. We look forward to a couple of engaging sessions with you.
Awesome.
So we're going to open up, Kevin. I'd like just tell us a little bit about you. How did you get to northern Santa Barbara County, especially Santa Maria?
It's kind of a long road, but I have a friend from way back in 2000 that was from Santa Maria and it kind of introduced me to the community. And when the job opened up here, like almost 13 years ago now, it was just a great opportunity and a great chance to go to that community that I had visited before and be a part of it. And I can tell you, the community itself has lived up to everything I thought it was as a visitor here. And it's just a great place to live and raise a family.
Yeah, I agree. I think all three of us agree with that.
Yeah.
And most anybody who has the opportunity to live here, this is where we get to live.
Right. I know. It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it truly is. I come from the East Coast, Kevin, and people ask me, will you ever go back? That's the look they get.
Yeah, I'm not going back.
No. So, Kevin, let's start with the state of education. We're going to talk about 4-year degrees, the need for college, and I know in subsequent sessions we'll talk about, maybe not the need for college, but we're also going to talk about community engagement and how important that is, especially from the college perspective. Our first topic today is the state of education and 4-year degrees that are offered through Hancock.
So we're in the process of applying for a degree. Living in California, everything has to be a bureaucratic mess, and it's unfortunate because what we've seen across the state is the Cal State system really fighting the ability of community colleges to serve local needs in their communities with these 4-year degrees. So, we have a degree that we've submitted that we've vetted this through all of the business community, all of the civic leaders, all of the county leaders, and we believe it would actually serve our community. It's kind of important to note, I think, that no one's serving this community right now. It's a higher education desert. Cal Poly has finally offered one degree program in sociology that serves 20 students. And that's great for those 20 students, but what about the hundreds of students who've graduated and can't afford to move away or can't afford to attend Cal Poly? It's very expensive to go to Cal Poly, even if you live here. So we feel like we should be able to serve the community if no one else will.
When you say we, I mean, obviously, we've been talking about this for years.
Right.
And movement is very slow. As you said, in California, things move slowly, but it's probably true in most other states. Are other community colleges involved with you to try and make this happen? Because this is really important stuff.
There are, and you can find there are some examples of degrees across the state, and they're fantastic degrees, and they're driven by local needs. So there's down in Whittier at Rio Hondo College, they have a 4-year degree in automotive technology. Fantastic. I think it's Citrus College has a degree in mortuary science. Up in Feather River College, way up in the northern part of the state, they actually offer 2 degrees, one in equine studies and one in fire restoration and management, because that all the wildfires that go through there.
Hugely important.
Yeah, very important degrees. And those are great, but they're also, with the exception of Feather River, those other programs are offered in major metropolitan areas where there are a number of options for students to go to college. We don't have that here, so we're trying to offer what we call a Bachelor's of Applied Professional Studies. It would be, the perfect kind of thing for an organization like United Way to have, just a basic degree in how to manage an organization. This is not something that you're going to try to go off to Harvard Business School after you're done. It's really about what are the key things you need to manage the hiring process, be a personnel director, understand accounting, understand marketing. Just enough so that somebody that wanted to start their own business could be successful, or somebody who, works for, one of our large growers here. If somebody worked for one of the big farm companies, they could work in that back office, or they could work for a professional services firm. Unfortunately, the Cal State system doesn't want us to do that. We're still putting in our application, and we're still making a strong case to our system that if no one else is going to serve this community, we should be able to do that.
It seems like you've mentioned Cal State system twice. Things must roll uphill, contrary to popular belief.
Right.
There's the UC system. How is that balanced in here?
Well, it's funny because, we have this California master plan that was developed in the 60s. And in the 60s, who went to college? White, middle-class males. That's who went to college. California doesn't look like 1965 anymore. And we need a new master plan, and we need to recognize the ability of each of our systems. And at that time, the UC system was set up to be the research universities, and they are critically important to the California economy. No doubt about it. The CSUs were designed to be that sort of middle branch of, we're going to train accountants, and we're going to train teachers, and we're going to train, basic engineers, those kind of things. Perfect. And then the community colleges were designed to help with career education or to provide transfer into mostly the CSU system, not really even into the UC system. Since that was designed, Cal State is now offering doctoral degrees, and that goes against the original master plan.
So they rolled uphill.
And now it feels like they're putting pressure on. It doesn't feel like they are. They're putting pressure on the legislature and on state leaders to not allow for market-driven degrees to be offered at the community colleges.
So I remember a few years back, our organizations collaborated on something we called the Workforce and Literacy Initiative. And I remember hearing something about San Bernardino region doing something about, it sounded similar to what you're talking about. And that was, how long ago did we do that? 10?
It's 10 years ago, yeah.
10 years ago. And we're still fighting the battle.
We are. And if you go to other parts of the state, if you go to Visalia, Fresno State has a full-blown campus in Visalia where they're doing 2+2 programs at scale. If you go to the Imperial Valley, San Diego State University has a separately functioning campus called the San Diego State Imperial Valley that works with Imperial Valley College out there. So there's examples of this. San Bernardino is actually doing some things in Palm Desert. So there's examples in the state that could be tried here, but it's going to take an investment, and it's going to take a little bit of vision.
So I want to ask a question about brick and mortar, because that's what you're talking about versus online. But before that, I want to share a comment with you. Hancock implemented an auto-awarding degree program that allows your students to only take the course units they need to achieve their degree and or certificates. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. We did. We were the first in the state to recognize the value of making sure students knew they were eligible for a degree. So when a student gets to 95% of a degree, they get an email from us that says, hey, based on what you've taken and what you're signed up for in the fall or the spring or the summer, you're going to be eligible for a degree. And as soon as you successfully complete that course, we'll process your application and you'll automatically be awarded a degree. It's a transformational program. We've seen it. 2/3 of the students getting those programs are Latino students. And not surprisingly, now what we're starting to see is that 2/3 of our graduates are Latino students, right?
Not surprisingly.
Right. So we're actually graduating more Latino students today than we had total graduates 10 years ago. So, it's moving the needle because higher education is complicated, right? It's not intuitive that you would have to go, when you go to high school, you don't have to apply for your diploma, right? When you're finished, they give you your diploma. And we felt like we could make this a lot easier for our students. So it's really been a fantastic program, and we've seen a huge impact and people who are really grateful for those degrees.
So you have a lot more students graduating in a shorter period of time.
Correct. That's correct.
That makes a lot of sense, right? We get them ready for the workforce, or for higher
or
education.
For transfer,
right.
or for transfer, yeah.
Let's talk just a minute about the online versus the brick and mortar. We have to admit that's tough. We're in California. We're in Santa Barbara County. We're in Santa Maria, getting things built. it's a little bit difficult. We can't even seem to get a child care center. So getting a college built seems to me, I mean, just from the outside, I go, what the heck? How would we do that? So how does having the online opportunities of today's world impacting that effort?
So online's a great supplement to our program. Um, Almost all of our students who are taking an online class are also taking in-person classes, so they're time shifting, right?
So that's just like the workforce.
Yeah, right. So they're time shifting those. The only students we have who are completely online are primarily only taking 1 or 2 classes, right? I mean, that's the difference for our students, especially, and you know this community as well as anybody, is our students are coming from working class families. A lot of their parents are laborers in the fields, and they might be living with another family or another 2 families. So there might be 12, 15 people in one house. How are you going to study online if you have that many people in the house?
And concentrate.
Right. So we do 2 things. So we're really focused, and our students have expressed a keen interest in having their classes in person, especially those STEM classes, the math, the engineering, science classes. They want to be in person for those classes. But we also keep our campus open so that students can come and study. So when you come to, I went to a community college in Dallas, and
I knew you were Texan.
yeah, it was it was a ghost town. After you come and take classes, and there was a ghost town. Our students come and stay. So you come by on campus at 2:00 in the afternoon. There's still a lot of students hanging out, milling about, studying in the library or in some of the study spaces. Our new fine arts building has become one of the best study spaces on campus.
My granddaughter is one of those students hanging out after 2:00, and she came from Tennessee to go to school here.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
we're tickled to have our granddaughter back in
I would
California.
imagine, yeah.
Number one, but number two, she's going to Hancock. So and it's interesting for us to have her back and watching her grow. And she's talking to us about college every day.
Good.
It's
Good.
really cool. So the other thing I wanted to mention is this is just a comment. It doesn't matter whether you're interested in transferring to a 4-year university, earning a certificate in a career education, or just enhancing your skills. This is all available at Hancock. So there's 2 aspects that I'm aware of at Hancock. There's the 4 credit. There's the community education.
Right.
There's so many opportunities. We've again, our organizations have partnered. It's been 18 years since we started the VITA program, and we've trained literally hundreds of people through that program in community education. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Our community ed program is becoming even more critical for developing workforce because the state has said that we can no longer offer credit classes in math and English that are below college level. So it used to be you'd come to college and yeah. Historically, it was awful at every community college. You'd come in, you'd take a test, and like, well, you've got to take these 5 math classes before you can take a credit class.
Right.
And out of 100 students, 2 might make it through.
Right.
I mean, it was not the way to help students get through. So the pendulum has swung completely in the other direction. When students get to Hancock, we have to enroll them in credit math classes, so college level, transfer level, so either statistics or calculus is what they have to enroll in. So where the community ed program can come in on that side is we can offer the community ed below level, get those students up to speed, but we don't want them, they're stuck there forever, right? We want it to be really quick, let's get your skills back up, because I'm pretty sure you're not ready for a calculus class right now.
I'm pretty sure I've forgotten everything I ever learned.
Right. So so if you've been out of school for a while and you want to come back, we can help you with those refresher courses. But the other part of community ed is that direct workforce. We're teaching English as a second language. We're teaching real skills where we have sewing courses that a lot of especially young mothers take.
Yeah.
They learn how to sew. They learn how to embroider. They learn how to do all of these things. So they can do that from their home, make a little bit of money out of their home. And the cool part is, if you're a member of the community, you can get in that class too. You can come in if you just want to learn how to do embroidery, or you want to learn how to do, how to hem a pair of pants. You can come take those classes alongside people who are doing it to start their own small business.
Thank you for helping me understand that transition, because when it happened it was pre-COVID, the transition with the requirements, I scratched my head. I didn't understand.
Right.
I get it. Thank you for that explanation. We're going to transition from this conversation a little bit. We're going to talk about the need for college, but I think we're going to maybe ask you to come back, Kevin, for another session and talk about the need for college and how that interplay in our community. We've got, you mentioned it, we're a working class community by and large, and not that everybody is, but we've got 80% Latin population here in northern Santa Barbara County. I know you're a fan of our real cost measure that shows the reality of what it takes to live in our region. And those things make it difficult to get a higher education. And so we've got this dynamic. We got a need for college. We've got to have the money for college. And so how do we put all of that together and Hancock's role in that? But that's for another discussion. Today, I want to thank you again for coming in, especially, and I got to tell you, just as a closing thought, my granddaughter is in statistics.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
and she's coming to us going, need a little help. And honestly, we're challenged because, well, Deb's retired now, 30 years from the classroom. And I haven't made that decision yet. Maybe someday I'll get to that decision. We'll see. But for now, I want to say, Kevin Walthers, thank you. Would you give us a closing comment, just closing thoughts?
Well, we're proud to be the affordable option for higher education in northern Santa Barbara County, and the things that our faculty and staff do on a daily basis are truly transformational. So it's great to be a part of the community.
I love the word transformation today. So much more than I like the word collaboration. We need to transform things in our communities, Kevin. So thank you for all that you do. And Jacob, thank you for your technical assistance, keeping us on time. We'll see you for the next session of Community Voices here at the United Way Podcast Center. Today we welcome back Dr. Kevin Walthers from Allan Hancock College.